Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on January 3rd, 2023, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilman Brennan? Here. Councilman McKinney? Here. Mayor Buckafusco? Here. Councilman Rondinero? Here. Councilman Levis?
Here.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a moment of silence for members of the armed forces, their families, and our first responders? Thank you. First thing up is the proclamation for Building Safety Month. Who would, anyone in particular? Mark this up.
Building Safety Month, May 2023, whereas the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, is committed to recognizing the growth and strength depends on safety and economic value of homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serve our citizens, both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas the Guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a U.S.-based organization that brings together local and state and federal officials that are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, worship, play. And whereas the modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildlands fires, floods, earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Safety for All Building Codes in Action The theme for Building Safety Month 2022 encourages us all to raise awareness about planning for safe, sustainable construction, career opportunities in building safety, understanding disaster mitigation, energy conservation, and creating a safe and abundant water supply for all of our benefit. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to us by local, state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Building Safety Month.
Thank you very much. We're going to proceed to workshop discussion. And before we do that, I'm going to just let everyone know that we had a very proud day today here in Belmar. We had the Police Unity Tour begin for 2023 up at the Taylor Pavilion in Silver Lake. And there were members from California, Maine, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and 2 units, Unit 10 and Unit 13, starting their trek from here to Washington, D.C. And, we were privileged to be there, and I think it was a special event for Belmar. And I just wanted to let everybody know that it was very nice, and I think everyone appreciated it. So, that's it. Okay, what I'm going to spend most of the time in the workshop is, I'd like to give everybody an update on the situation with the 5G poles that Verizon wishes to place on the beachfront. And I think it's a good thing, since we've had some press lately. We've had some response from Verizon in the press, and I just thought it'd be nice to give it out straight so everybody knows what we have been doing since we received notice. As many of you know, the borough, through the previous administration, entered into a settlement consent agreement with Verizon in August 2022. That agreement was approved by U.S. District Court Judge Michael A. Shipp on September 8th, 2022. The borough agreed to the placement of the poles on the east side of Ocean Avenue at the end of each street along the boardwalk to accommodate the 5G technology. Although the consent judgment was finalized on September 8th, 2022, Verizon agreed in the judgment to hold off installation until December 2022. And the council did not pass a resolution approving the settlement until November 29th, 2022. Okay. To bring us up to date for us, and we were contacted in late February 2023 by Verizon about installation of the 20 poles, and this was essentially the first communication we had from them about what we wanted on the poles, where we wanted them, what color we wanted them, etc. The borough administrator, borough attorney, and I concluded the plan agreed to by the prior administration was not in the best interests of the residents, and that we would do whatever we could to get Verizon to change the plan. In an attempt to initiate talks with Verizon, Borough Administrator Kane reached out to the governor's office and enlisted their assistance in scheduling a meeting with Verizon. On April 20th, 2023, the borough administrator, borough attorney, and I had an opportunity to meet with Verizon representatives and their legal counsel through a Zoom meeting. At that meeting, Verizon made it clear it was not willing to change the plans that they had made and was approved in the consent judgment. In spite of Verizon's response, our borough attorney forwarded a letter to counsel for Verizon, Gregory D. Meese, Esquire, requesting that the parties come together again to try to explore alternatives to the current plan. By letter dated May 2nd, 2023, Verizon responded through counsel that Verizon had extensive conversations with the borough over a course of several years on the matter, and at this point, they are now ready to deploy its facilities in accordance with the settlement. In other words, Verizon was not interested in discussing any reasonable alternatives or revisiting the plan. Counsel for Verizon, in his letter, requested 2 additional items from the borough. First, Verizon asked that the borough execute what is known as a property owner certification, which is a document that's necessary to file an application for a CAFRA permit. Upon review of the document, it was apparent, and it is opinion of our borough attorney, that neither he nor anyone else in the borough should execute this document because the wireless poles are situated in the roadway right-of-way, which is owned by the County of Monmouth and not the Borough of Belmar. We are not sure at this point if this will delay the process or otherwise affect Verizon's plans, but Verizon has been referred by us to the county regarding this issue. It may be that additional review and permitting is necessary at the county level. The second request received from Verizon involves the temporary deployment of a cell on wheels, or COW, which will allow Verizon to meet the alleged uptick in capacity demands during the summer months. The request came with no details or plan, and we have asked that Verizon provide the borough with specifics regarding this deployment so that we may evaluate the impact that such a deployment may have on the beachfront and the community. And that's pretty much where we are now. I continue to tell you, though, that the letters that I referred to, the attorney letter of April 24th, the letter from May 2nd, and our attorney's response of May 4th are posted on the borough's website. If you go to documents, we have created a special section now that is called Verizon Project, and you will see there are 11 documents in there for people to see. The other thing that was very curious as we were going through the issue with the CAFRA permit is there's a county utility agreement which was referred to in the consent judgment. And again, the consent judgment is online for everyone to see, and the county utility agreement is also online. And as I went through this, I noticed in the third paragraph the following sentence. It says, whereas Verizon Wireless intends to install its communication system airily on existing utility poles and subsurface within county rights-of-way along portions of county routes as identified in the attached Exhibit A, Verizon Equipment Science. Well, obviously that kind of was curious to me because the plans that they have and have showed us are new poles. And it seems like in this agreement, it refers to existing utility poles and subsurface. Now, I will say that this document was dated December 12th, 2016, and curiously enough, also, if you look at the signature page, it was dated by it looks like Jenny Quick, real estate specialist, on October 3rd, 2016. So, and in 2016, I don't think they even had 5G, around at that point. So, I mean, that was the major issue that we had, and that how could this document be utilized by Verizon in the consent judgment that was presented to the district court judge as proof that they had a county right-of-way agreement. So this is all, the county has been made aware of this, and we don't know what effect it will have, but I thought it was important that you all know that this is something that we've picked up on. I don't know whether it's going to, delay the process or whatever. We haven't heard anything from Verizon on it. I don't think, we haven't heard anything about the CAFR permit
No.
yet, so we're in the holding pattern as far as that goes. But I want you to know that, you know, we, in the interest of transparency, we've put these documents on on the website. I've also included the property owner certification form, so everyone can see what is in it, and why we don't qualify in terms of signing that. And I think, you know, anything else that comes up, we will definitely bring up at the meeting, and if it's documentation that we can, we will post it on the website. So that's where we are right now, to date. I just wanted to let everyone know pretty much what the facts were. So let's move on. Does anyone else have anything for the?
They didn't
questions?
provide any details on this cow that they want to do?
No, we had asked, they asked, and we went back to them and said, what are you actually looking at? Because if you go on Google or whatever, and you just put in the term, you know, sell on wheels, there are about 50 different varieties of these cows that can be utilized, and I think it's important, obviously, that we know which one
Yep.
they're going to.
Well, my humble opinion is that if they're not gonna give us an inch, we don't give them an inch. We don't let them have it.
Right, I agree. I think it's important that we give them the opportunity to at least show us what it is, and at that point,
They can
we'll
put
make
that
our
on if that's
decision.
the only thing they put on.
But,
They agree to pull everything else off. Then
yeah,
maybe we'll talk.
I think it's kind of ironic that they're asking for that, because I don't think we've ever had one in years past. And if the reception was that bad, you know, why haven't they proposed that before? So it's a curious thing. It also goes to the fact that I think we're not going to see, you know, anybody installing any towers or poles in the near future. I mean, so, you know, I think we're looking at, you know, they're looking at some time past the summer. So, you know, gives us a little bit of breathing room to still do what we have to do.
Way past.
Never.
There you go.
But that's my take on it. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, as you're aware, over 200 residents came out in opposition for this plan by Verizon for 2035 monopoles on Ocean Avenue. And I'm really glad. Thank you for your commitment, your effort, and our business administrator and our attorney's effort in helping make sure we can do everything that we can do. That is what the residents want to hear, and we are doing just that. I'm grateful to Caitlin Donovan for spearheading this crucial resident movement, and Councilwoman Kinney and I are working together as council liaisons, and we're committed to ensuring that the Belmar voices are heard loud and clear. So thank you very much. Also, we had County Commissioner Tom Arnone come to this meeting, and he pledged that the county would fight the good fight with us, and that he would use county resources to help us with whatever we needed. So, thank you.
And I also would like News 12 New Jersey, would like to thank them for the coverage that they made on Saturday. I thought it was accurate, and it was, you know, a way that I think many people found out what was happening. And again, it was nice to have some coverage. Of course, you don't see anything about Belmar like in the Asbury Park Press or the Star Ledger, you know. But you know, at least we were able to you know, get into the New Jersey market, and I think many people are now aware of what we're up against. So thanks to News 12 New Jersey. Anything else for workshop? Okay, let's move on to petitions. Any petitions?
No, I did not receive any.
Okay. Approval of minutes.
Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 25th, 2023 meeting?
Motion?
Second?
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckles?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
These reports of mayor and council.
Council President Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right. I'd love to talk about Verizon some more, but let's just get through this here. The Tourism Commission is meeting tomorrow here, 5:30. That leads me to letting everybody know the Seafood Festival. This is our last council meeting before the Seafood Festival, which is Friday the 19th, Saturday the 20th, and Sunday the 21st. It's really shaping up really, really well, and kudos to John Walsh for all the work he's done, putting everything together, doing all the contacts. But one of the things the Tourism Commission really wanted to emphasize, along with moving the festival back to over by Silver Lake, we wanted to focus on local vendors, local music acts, and that's really what we're doing here. There's a lot of really great acts lined up, and really just all we got to do is hope for weather. It'd be great if it was nice, but rain or shine, we're going to have it, and it's going to be great. Yes, indeed. Okay. The Environmental Commission has a meeting on Thursday. That's at 6 o'clock, 6:30, downstairs in the library. And want to let everybody give you an update on the geese. Bill Musto, our DPW director, has told us they've oiled the eggs. For those of you who don't know, we're taking a two-pronged approach. It's PETA affirmed, it doesn't harm the animals, just doesn't let the eggs hatch. They've done multiple oilings on 40 eggs, and by this point in the season, we know none of them are going to hatch, so there's not going to be any new geese. The only geese we have are the ones that are there now. Those are the residents that live there. The second part of the plan, and we're definitely going to be looking for volunteers, the Environmental Commission should be reaching out through social media, so if you can, if you're on Facebook in particular, find the Belmar Eco Watch page and like that, and you'll get notified. We're looking, the second part of the process is going to be around the middle of May, the geese will start to molt. And once they get into that process, they won't be able to fly. So our plan is get dogs around the lake. We're going to ask for volunteers, especially if somebody's got a dog that will stay in a boat, small rowboat or a kayak. And we're going to take, this is what Brian McGovern used to do. He used to take the dog out on the lake, and that would force the birds to fly. And they're barely able to fly at that point because they're really in the molting process. We want them to fly away from our lake, to go to somebody else's lake and finish losing their feathers, and then they can't come back the rest of the summer. And that has really worked in the past, and we're looking to do that again. So please, if you fit that profile with a dog that will listen to you and not run after the geese too much and will stay in the boat, that we would definitely like to have your help. Really, I'm really excited about hearing this because it was so bad just a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, and last but not least, Belmar Porch Fest is this Saturday. The weather looks great. Not going to rain. At least that's what it says. There's 13 different porches. There's a couple in Lake Como, and so all right, fine. And that's okay. If you want to see the schedule and a map of the locations of the houses, you can, again, if you're on social media, again, on Facebook, look for the Belmar Porch Fest page. But if you're not social media person, just email me. I have the maps. I'm the volunteer that made the maps. So I'll send you the stuff so you can see who's playing when. The music starts at 1. It's over just before 6 o'clock. There's 3 acts on every porch, and it's really, there's some great acts too, and including moi. Definitely great. If you're around, you can come see my band. And that's it for me. Thanks for my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman McKinney.
Thank you so much. I also went to the Unity tour this morning. That was a really awesome presentation and ceremony that we had for the police biking down to Washington DC, so that was great. Quick recreation update, signups for the kids running club, summer tennis and basketball are going on now. And the fall signups are actually starting, so if you want to sign up your kids for any sports in the fall. Friday night concerts in the plaza start May 26th at 6 p.m. And the Luckinville Pops Band returns to Taylor Pavilion on July 3rd and will perform every Monday night at Taylor Pavilion at 7 p.m. And then any senior citizen wishing to get on the email list to find out about recreation updates, please just email recreation@belmar.com. The ADA meeting, we discussed how there's going to be 2 anti-bullying campaigns going on at summer camp this summer. So it's going to be for 2 different age groups. So that's a good thing that they're going to have. The next meeting for ADA is May 31st. The Shade Tree Committee, we had 2 Arbor Day celebrations on, I think it was the 28th, Friday the 28th, one at Belmar Elementary, and one for the St. Rose Grammar School kids at the library where they were able to plant trees, so that was great. The next Shade Tree Commission meeting is Thursday, May 11th, this Thursday, 6 p.m. And then just a couple things around the school. St. Rose Grammar School, congratulations to 2nd graders who made First Holy Communion this past weekend. May 12th is the spring concert at 7 p.m. in the church, followed by the student art show in the parish center. May 18th, next week, the 8th graders make confirmation. That's CCD kids and St. Rose Grammar School kids. And then May 20th is a clothing drive in the parking lot. Bring all your clothes and things you want to get rid of, 8 to 10 in the church parking lot. And then around the high school, this Thursday, May 11th, is the spring concert from 7 to 8:30 in the gym. And Friday, May 12th is the art show, but that's at Monmouth University from 7 to 9. And then Belmar Elementary School on May 17th has their spring band and concert chorus. PTO is doing a couple things. May 10th is the Mother's Day jewelry sale. And May 12th, they're having a color run. This whole week is Teacher Appreciation Week for all teachers. And then that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rondinero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was also had the honor to be at the Unity Tour, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank all of our law enforcement and remember those who have taken that ultimate sacrifice. So thank you. The library is doing incredible events. Our Cinco de Mayo program was unbelievable. There is such great turnout and excitement. And we had Bhante Sujata, the Buddhist monk who came and did a meditation. And these programs are world class. So I would like to thank Louis Polito, David Holman, all of the trustees, our volunteers, and the people who work at the library, because they're doing a great job. Please go to belmarlibrary.org and see what they are up to, because it's phenomenal. The library offered to fill that gap. We had someone come in last meeting saying that they didn't have a place to go now that summer camp would be coming in for the Taylor Pavilion for a game day. And we were able to figure out with Barry in recreation and David Hallman a place in the library that they will now be having time to do games library Tuesday morning. So we were very happy about that. Thank you to the library for helping us. The Belmar Housing Authority had their meeting tonight. Unfortunately, I did miss it, but I did get the update from Director Paul DeSantis. They're still working on getting bids for the scaffolding, which is very much needed for the facade of the building. We recently had some heavy rain, and some of those bricks did fall, and so no one was hurt. Thankfully, our code enforcer, Bob Hoff, came out right to the scene, and so did our law enforcement. The borough really reacted in a wonderful way to make sure that our seniors were safe. This is new this year, and thank you to our business administrator, Kevin Kane. Belmar High School seniors will have banners on the poles, just like Lake Como seniors do when they're graduating high school. So they have this opportunity. Not everyone has to be involved in it, but if you do have a high school senior or know of a high school senior that is a resident of Belmar who would like a banner, please email me at mrondinaro@belmar.com, and we will work on getting your high school senior a banner. St. Rose too. So any as long as you were a Belmar resident, doesn't matter whether you go to St. Rose, whether it's Red Bank High School or Manasquan, you'll be able to get a banner this year. So thank you once again to Business Administrator Kevin Kane for helping us have that happen. I know that's made so many parents happy this year. And I think that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman Levis?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to thank the fire department for their quick actions yesterday, stopping the fire from spreading on Main Street that could have gotten a lot worse. We have a really good fire department, and they act fast. So I commend them for taking those actions and putting that fire out. That's really all I have. We mentioned Portsmouth, we mentioned yard sale day we have this week, so Teachers Appreciation Week. Good job, everyone. On the end of the line, so I don't always get one.
I only have two quick things. I did attend the library board meeting last night, I believe it was. Maria filled us in on all the good stuff that they're doing, and it was a very short meeting. I'll just say that I think they got their bids for the new windows, and I think that they're in the process now of selecting what vendor they're going to use for that. And they're working on, again, classes for the summer. And as Maria says, they work very hard and they put on some great programs. I also attended the Arbor Day tree giveaway on, I think it was last Saturday when it poured, and it was moved to the library, actually. And I think a number of people did come in to get their, I'm trying to remember what kind of tree it was.
Dogwood.
What was it? White dogwood tree. Again, thanks to the library, that event was salvaged, and I hope in about 20 years to see some of these trees moved in Belmar. Thank you, that's all I have. Okay. Public session?
If anyone from the public would like to speak regarding a resolution listed on the agenda, please step forward, state your name and address. Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes?
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Next, I have one more resolution to add to the agenda tonight, if everyone is okay with that. It would be Resolution 2023-126. It's a resolution establishing a fee for the Belmar Seafood Festival shirts. This resolution would authorize the borough to sell seafood festival shirts to the general public at the cost of $15 each. So if that is acceptable, I'd like a motion to adopt this resolution.
Motion?
Second?
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
I'm going to vote no on this one, guys, and just as I don't think the borough should be in the business of selling shirts for seafood festival. It's something personal, but, the probably some businesses have, unfortunately, be interested in that, so I'm voting no on this one.
Next, we have one more resolution. This is Resolution 2023-125, resolution of the Council of the Borough of Belmar permitting the council to adjourn into executive session. Whereas it has been determined by the Borough Council, the Borough of Belmar, that it is necessary to discuss the following specific matter at its regular meeting in the absence of the public, which is pending or anticipated litigation regarding affordable housing and the attorney-client privilege communications related thereto. And whereas the Open Public Meetings Act permits the Borough Council to exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting during which such matters are discussed. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council as follows, that the Borough Council shall forthwith recess into a private executive session from which the public shall be excluded to discuss the above referenced matters, that the scope of the aforesaid executive session shall be limited to the above matters as stated, that those matters discussed in executive session shall remain in confidential until such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists as determined by the borough attorney, that the minutes of the closed session shall be taken and kept free from the public view until such time that the need for confidentiality no longer exists as determined by the borough attorney, and that the regular meeting of the Borough Council shall resume after the private executive session, at which time the Borough Council may take action in reference to the topic discussed. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Mackey?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Mayor, can I just let the public know what we're doing, since this is a little bit out of the ordinary? We usually have our closed sessions at the end of the meeting so that people can leave that don't want to stick around. But tonight we have an update on the affordable housing action that the borough filed. We have Fran McManaman and Joe Bauman from the Affordable Housing Council firm. And the update actually touches on the two ordinances that we have on for final reading tonight, in the sense that within the affordable housing litigation, an order to show cause was filed and decided just recently. I think it was last week. So it would be best that we have the update to the council before the final vote on those ordinances. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. I apologize, everybody. It's going to be a little inconvenience sitting around while we go into another room, but we'll try to be as quick as possible.
I know.
You get to see what I do.
No,
Alright.
I was annoyed that this was happening. Oh, Jesus.
It's because they know that deadline got pushed up a day for me. And I
really?
have to have this article in by midnight. So they're like, let's just go to an executive session in the middle of it and figure waste our time. Why not? So, it's fine. I'll just go around the inside. It's okay. Actually, today.
Maybe ask me. I don't want to answer you. I'm not going to I didn't hear that.
And I had a case with an arbitrator in Rapid. He spent 2 years trying to get a sentence in Westbrook. We represent the town. Do I have the technology over like 7 years. No, what they said tonight about we're not going to do what it is, we're going to delay this as much as they can. He's not paying attention to this. He's not. So it's a girl. She wants to be like a fire, but basically, I mean, here, like, she has some real skill. But like, so many thousands of kids are coming. The school that these kids go If they got the street guys, we went down to Texas Tech in February to try it. And it's like a Texas state school. So just built $47 here. $89 grand. They have like they decided to make it right on the street, like make it very some schools have focus on the voice programs, acting some special. The guy that she's dating was like a leader. Yeah, trying to see if I have her. Belmar has like an acting track. It's even like Lewis. I'll have to get into sports. But I could see him doing it. Everybody's retired. That's his sense. He's doing voice for him. So I've learned that I love when I see it in college, especially college. It's great. So that's way more than I see in the school. It's so stupid. I can't use any of that money. Yeah, like don't want to see this flash here. posted somewhere. It's which the one for the dance auditions that had some center. They basically share their the dance page this is like so different than New Jersey. New Jersey state's so professors right. They're not spending any money maintaining their consultants and no state. You gotta see it in person. Yeah, you know, there was a line. Yeah, and another brother was right. And you know, there would be more. Looks like it's not spectacular. No, I think that's a different place. That's kind of
She's my favorite. Top tier. All my news with the serial killer. I gotta go deep dive. I'm a deadline. I can't afford to go on a rabbit hole. What if you die? I will absolutely dive into that. That's so interesting. Right. So interesting because she just did something with AOC too. Right?
They're paying I get the connection. I think it's hilarious that people really care that much.
Yeah. But I don't think we need to follow that, honestly.
I know. I'm like, is the content good? Yeah.
It shows up on my free page.
If you don't like it, then
care that much, you can walk us.
exactly.
Like, not that easy. Yes, he's very angry about me. Yeah. Oh, I didn't think he was related like, with anyone. I thought he was just like a citizen who was like, this is what I know. Yeah, yeah. That's why they like found my stuff. It's like,
because somebody was saying
yeah.
before this.
I'm not fit, but also don't look at my paycheck. Well, you got me. Like, what are you supposed to do? They said no. File an open public record that way? No, it absolutely does not. You'd get a big fat cheap sign in like 30 seconds and be like, what are you crazy? Yeah, but here I was, like she was my inspiration. I'm like, or they were my inspiration. I'm gonna be like them. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna give or follow it.
They definitely
Ruined it.
did. They definitely did that. But good for them. Get paid.
Too big for your britches, I guess.
Get money. Get paid.
Yeah. Ethics are all fun and games until all the science starts showing up. It's like, I can't be bought, but if you had another zero, I might consider it. I get it. I don't completely get it. So one day they'll come out and they'll be like, everything's fine.
Like Rosalind's live.
Yeah.
I still don't believe it. I don't believe that she's.
I don't know. Like,
I believe that she is smart, but I don't believe that there's just a full hand.
right, like I feel like there's a level of like plausible deniability, but like okay, you can't do this, so you have to know something that's going on. Like
But
even if
is
it's
she like a genius?
I don't know if I go that far to call her a genius. It'd be like calling basically Kanye is his own world. Kanye's still around for a while. He jumped Twitter and I haven't heard anything. It's been blissful. I guess they all jumped to that like truth app, whatever. Just do you want to lie and not get blamed for it? Why have the app for you? No one's gonna check because people want free for all. Have fun.
Now that it's 5G, it's fifth generation.
We're gonna be talking about something good for this one. That's all I'm saying. Better be good to you when that gets released in 20 years.
In 20 years.
Whenever things get deemed not important. Tomorrow. They're gonna be like, you changed your mind actually. You can have what we said 24 hours ago. But I have a feeling. That's how I feel every time there's an event in this pub.
He should just have My wife has got a customer, New York doc. They started realizing, just like very, very dependable now. So we got to come He had a really good disability. All he doesn't have is walk.
She was having us.
You're doing quizzes with everyone?
Yeah,
Let's find out.
it's Disney Princess right now.
Pissed. You have a girl in middle school, and I wish I was kidding. Her name was Kate. It was spelled K-E-I-G-H-A. That was like,
I went once with the brother the princess. And someone else named Queen.
oh my god.
And the whole royal family. And they weren't even related.
Just two totally different people. I'm Queen, nice to meet you.
Totally different, exactly.
Oh, I'm Princess, nice to meet you. My teacher always used to talk about his first classes was Ladasha. Her name was L dash and then an A. And I was like, I don't believe you. I feel like it's a teacher joke that you tell all your students.
I'm killing it.
I want to just make the parents how to differentiate. Like Elon Musk naming his kids like a bunch of random symbols. What is it?
Oh, it's in Long Beach, California. Thank you.
Because you know why? And then we were gonna it really affected.
The whole article.
It affected one house.
Well, no. There was one couple filed a petition.
So is that just what happened? Then they
Yeah, apparently they were. But I mean, it was, I guess a lot of people joined forces.
Is there, they had a, I don't know, said they had some kind of.
Oh, I'm gonna bookmark.
Then we had the community tour this morning, so that was like at 6:30.
I
And
really
I'm
wish
usually
someone
not.
could have told me the story about that, because I didn't
Was
find
very-
out about it until like today.
The chief really wants to keep it in for safety reasons.
Gotcha. Well, listen to that. I was like,
You should call
that
family.
would have been swell to have a story about that, but alright,
Oh
fine.
yeah, so they claim some health
Unless they
issues.
right?
She gets migraines.
Give the recap. Talk to the chief after.
I couldn't even get the fire department to call me back. I called him 3 times today about that fire.
But the FCC is
Called me
claiming,
back.
nah.
I chased it yesterday. I was in Belmar waiting to go to the meeting, and I heard the fire engine, and I was like, well, I guess it's my job to find out what's going on. And I just followed it to the condominium. It's 3 days. But Belmar responded, so I was like, hey, it's Belmar from her chief, what's good? And just got radio silence. So I was like, all right, fine, keep your secret until you're joking. But at the end of the day, I didn't have to wake up at 6 in the morning, so maybe it's a silver lining.
Oh, so I think I'm going through this article quickly, but there was also this thing that they were in a historic district. So they couldn't put it there because it was too historic nature area. Yeah, but all the guys that do about that is make them break it. It doesn't stop them. It's still pretty
Send a link to petition.
What's on your mind? I'm not sure what we're
They say it's the county's problem. Are you gonna say or not? They actually say something about that. That's fair. Instead of making it possible, people to live there. Right, right. There's lots of times. They all have gone. They're back. Have you been live for a time? Turning it on and off, I don't like it. everyone on YouTube enjoyed my funny commentary.
I know. I was like, well,
Next item is second reading and public hearing of ordinance 2023-6, an ordinance of the Borough Council rescinding ordinance 2022-02, the amendment to the Seaport redevelopment plan for Block 87, Lot 1 through 3.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to introduce our redevelopment council, Mr. Joe Belmar, who is going to bring us up to date on a few things.
Thank you, Mayor. So let me explain for the benefit of the public, and the governing body already understands what we're going to do next. So the municipality introduced a ordinance that rescinded an amendment to the Seaport redevelopment plan. The original ordinance was 2022-02. That ordinance was then forwarded to the planning board for their review and to allow them to opine on whether or not it was consistent with the master plan. The planning board had that meeting, and at that meeting, they concluded that this amendment, rescinding that ordinance, that amendment to the plan, was consistent with the master plan. At the same time, they made two recommendations to the governing body. First, they recommended that the governing body reconsider the entire Seaport redevelopment plan, so take a fresh look at the plan. That's a recommendation that I think doesn't require an action for us today. I think that's generally been, based upon our conversations, your plans anyway, Mayor and Council. And the second recommendation they made, which was a specific recommendation to the plan amendment, which was they felt that the revision, so the amendment that rescinded that ordinance, also changed the front yard setbacks for 8th and 10th Avenues. They opined that or recommended that those front yard setbacks for 8th and 10th Avenues continue. So they're recommending a change to the ordinance and the plan that's in front of you today. We have two choices. We can accept the recommendation or reject the recommendation. And if we reject the recommendation, we would have to put on the record why we're rejecting it. If we accepted it, it's a change to the ordinance itself, and we would have to reintroduce the ordinance and then adopt it at a subsequent meeting. So those are our two choices. We've discussed those choices, and in light of the fact that the governing body is going to be reconsidering the entire Seaport redevelopment plan, I think the governing body has concluded, and I'm going to put this on the record officially, that we are going to not accept the planning board's recommendation as it relates to the 8th and 10th Avenue setbacks. And the reason we're not accepting those recommendations is because we intend, the governing body and the council with their professionals, to relook at the entire Seaport redevelopment plan and address that issue in a more comprehensive manner. So a vote in favor of the ordinance would be in favor of the ordinance, and then it will also be a rejection of this recommendation. The reason being, again, it was in order to allow you to relook at the entire plan and address this specific recommendation as part of a bigger analysis that you intend to take post haste. So again, your affirmative vote on the ordinance would be a rejection of the recommendation for the reasons I just stated, which under the redevelopment law we're required to put on the record, which I just did. So it's a little confusing, but I think those were our two choices. I think that's the procedure that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, thank you for that. And I believe we should now.
Yes, now we can open the public hearing. If anyone would like to comment on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Mark Liebman. I'm an attorney with Chiesa, Shahaney, and Giantomasi. I represent the Rapetti family, and I'm here to tell you that we object to ordinance 2023-06. As I'm sure your council has advised you, we have moved to intervene in your affordable housing litigation. We have brought an order to show cause with respect to this ordinance, seeking to enjoin it being effective. I was here a few weeks ago, Mr. Mayor. I extended an olive branch to the municipality to talk about the affordable housing litigation, the obligations that Belmar has, and the Rapetti's offer to help you solve this problem. We've received no phone calls. There's been no effort to respond to that. I would suggest to you that it is inappropriate to adopt this ordinance and the companion ordinance, which will downsize and eliminate multifamily housing in Belmar. At the same time, the Belmar is before Judge Jones asking for a determination that Belmar has complied with its obligations under state law and the New Jersey Constitution to provide for its fair share of affordable housing. And I would ask you to consider what it is that's different today from last year. What has changed from a planning perspective? What valid planning reason exists for this ordinance, other than a change in the makeup of the governing body? And I would suggest to you that there is none. These ordinances are designed to stop multifamily housing. What is the objection to multifamily housing? What is the objection to affordable housing? What is the objection to multifamily housing?
We're not going to answer questions on a matter that's in litigation, so you have your right to make your comments, but the mayor and council are not going to engage in back and forth.
So your counsel can give you his advice. You're all independent people. Some of you are lawyers. You can make whatever statements you want. But if you adopt this ordinance, as you know, we have a court date scheduled already. We will enforce our clients' rights.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Is that a hand, Mr. Greenberg?
I can speak loud enough. Eugene Creamer, 4th Avenue. I have a real, I guess, if this ordinance is passed tonight, this would require a change to the Belmar zoning map. That was really my only substantive comment here. Regarding fairness to the property owner, I don't have any opinion on that. I wasn't privy to any agreement or representation that was made by anybody here in town. So no comment on that. That's it.
Any other comments?
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-6?
Motion.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
I was fine with the original ordinance, so I vote no.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondemaro?
This was an important ordinance. This is our opportunity to fulfill our campaign promise to the residents that we would help stop overdevelopment and stop massive projects from coming into Belmar. So yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2023-7. This is second reading and public hearing on an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 40 Development Regulations, eliminating the multifamily cluster development zone established under Section 40-6.13 and amending the official zoning map as may be required. This is open for public hearing. If anyone would like to comment on the ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address.
Steve Bloom, 1104 A Street. I hope that you vote yes to amend this ordinance. It's about 2 years or 3 years too late. It should have been done years and years ago. I don't know if this is gonna affect the development of the condos where the Belmar Inn is, but the talk around the neighborhood is that there's another developer looking to build across the street, which he originally wanted to do when they were gonna plan 2 condos on 12th Avenue. So by eliminating the MF 75 zone, this will stop all the development and only have single-family homes, because the homes are selling for $2.5 million and up. You could easily buy any of these pieces of property, and a developer doesn't have to make $7, $8, $9, $10 million profit. Can make $1 million, $750,000. It's still a profit, but it'll adhere to the look of the neighborhood, the single-family homes. That's what Belmar needs. They don't need it, because who knows what's gonna happen once the Mayfair goes. We don't need condos over there. That's the only reason why they developed the MF 75 zone, because of the Mayfair and the Belmar Inn. So I'm glad they're gonna do away with this. I don't know if it's gonna stop the development of the condos on the, where the Belmar Inn is. I hope it does. I'm working on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, if I could just state for the record that this matter was also referred to the planning board. The planning board did review it. The planning board found that the ordinance is consistent with the master plan, and they had no recommendations attached to that finding.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-7?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckle-Fusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have first reading and introduction on ordinance 2023-8. This is an ordinance amending section 2.5, revising the beach storage locker fees. We have a motion to offer for first reading.
Motion. Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckle-Fusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
All right, next is public session. If anyone would like to speak, please step forward and state your name and address.
Robert Forte, 114 8th Avenue, Belmar. Mr. Mayor, you mentioned something about these cows, the cell towers on wheels, that you had an application from Verizon to them to have portable units. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't call it an application. It was a statement in a letter to Mr. McGill saying, asking if we would consider approving a cow, and we responded that we needed more information before that would even be considered.
So you said a cow, which to me means one.
Well, I wouldn't go into that much detail. I don't know if they mean one or more.
Here's the point. They want the 5G network, the cell towers operate between 1,000 and 1,500 feet with the type of 5G they're going to use. They're going to use that one. So if they're asking for 20 towers to satisfy what they think they need, to me, it's inconceivable that they're only going to ask one wagon for the beach, because it's going to do nothing. Do you understand what I'm
I
trying to say?
understand what you're saying.
So
Yes.
what I'm trying to say is, be aware of that when they come to you and,
Yeah, we will be.
okay, thanks.
Thank you. Linda?
Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue. Good evening, everybody. I have 2 points I want to make. I too attended the police unity tour I had such a sense of pride being there, knowing that our chief, Scott, brought this tour to start in our town. It was a very moving event, and I was thankful that he took the time to attend. The second thing I want to say is last meeting, as I reflected on it, I was very concerned with fiscal responsibility. When I heard that we couldn't rent our asset on the north end of Pavilion for $5,000 a month, I, as an entrepreneur, said, well, what about $4,000 a month? I took some time to look at the bid, and the bid is much different than that in the past, if I'm not mistaken. That it went for 6 months with a potential for extension for 6, but that gets you in the winter. The previous bids were for a potential of 5 years. My question is, why wouldn't you advertise for one? I didn't see anything out there. Or Avon, they had a big sign on the pavilion. What did we do to try to promote getting a tenant into this space? I mean, the taxes went up, but why are we leaving potentially $30,000 on the table by not having a tenant?
Well, I mean, I think the process that we were required to follow, we went through in terms of requesting, we published it, we asked for people to come forward to rent.
Where did you publish this besides the Co-Star, and it's a little ad, right?
I'd have to ask, I'm not privy to that.
The Asbury Park Press and our website.
Okay, so, as a realtor, you market properties. No property gets rented or sold on its own. And so, it behooves us to do some social media advertising, put a sign on the building, but that's a lot of money we're losing on that piece of property. So I hope we could do better next time.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Sarah Tantillo. I'm 505 13th Avenue. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I watched the beginning where former Mayor Matt Doherty presented his proposal, and I'd like to comment on that. First of all, I just want to establish up front, I'm not totally opposed to that proposal, but I do have some questions and concerns. I'm very supportive of the Circle of Friends group. I think they're doing great work. But a couple of questions came up. And I have a lot of experience with running nonprofits, and I worked for 7 years in a restaurant, so I know how hard it is. So I just wonder about the plausibility of this work. He mentioned that it was going to be volunteers. One of my big concerns is that he's proposing to run essentially a small business strictly with volunteers. And, that's maybe a good way to run an event, but not a good way to run a business. Is Matt going to be supervising these people 7 days a week from 9 to 5? Is he going to be paid? Supervision is a full-time job. I object to the idea of not paying people who are doing work, especially people with intellectual disabilities. Councilman Brennan, you asked for a written plan. Did he submit one?
I haven't seen one.
Okay. I want to follow up on what Sharkus said. I agree with that. The giving away the asset at no cost is a potential loss of revenue for our town. But it also doesn't necessarily abdicate or mitigate our risk. And I wonder if his so-called plan, which you haven't seen, includes a risk assessment. I went on ChatGPT this afternoon and put in a question that generated a lot of potential risks. Food safety risks, physical safety risks for the volunteers, potential for discrimination or harassment, legal and regulatory risks, financial risks, So, you know, I don't know what the status of this agreement is or how it gets approved or whatever, but I really think it's worth rethinking a little bit before you go forward with it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Tom Madigan, 604 10th Avenue. I don't know if this is the correct time to do this, but I had sent you an email before the election about beachfront parking, and I requested that you look into the hours going back to the way they were. You sent me, sorry, Mr. Mayor and Council, you sent me a great email back and said, this is Jerry Buckfusco. Maria, Mark, and I agree with you regarding the beachfront parking. Ideally, the paid parking would be in effect as long as badges are required to access the beach, or as long as the borough provides lifeguards on the beach. Before acting on this, I would seek out public input on the matter. Along with that, I would want to know how much revenue would be lost from shortening the time and work with the council to adjust the beach utility budget accordingly. So I was just thought that it could be brought to your attention that to start, you know, parking a month before the summer starts and then until a month after the summer ends. So I thought it would be, you know, for you to respond to that. I thought it was amazing.
Let me just say, I would have loved to have done that, but unfortunately, you know, once we actually see the details, the records, you know, for example, you know, we had to return money to business owners because, you know, the tourism ordinances were amended incorrectly, and, you know, people were overpaying for that service. So, you know, right, we had to give money back. So, I mean, it's, when you get down to actually preparing the budget, you can see where, you know, we saw some areas where, you know, revenue didn't meet up to where we thought it was going to be. But I do agree with you that, you know, I would love to be able to have the parking run with the badges. And I'm actually working on something now, which I don't want to make public because it's really preliminary. It's a preliminary proposal that I have to try to ease the parking situation for the residents. So you know, I'm hoping that maybe this year or definitely next year we will be able to do something to kind of you know, get things back to the way they were.
Yeah, I mean, I go to AA meetings.
I understand.
And I'm proud to say I have 10 years of sobriety.
That's fantastic.
But for you to actually respond to this I was very, very happy that you at least, you know, brought that.
We haven't forgotten about it. We're definitely looking at doing something to make it more easy for residents to park up at the beach and not have to pay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. In support of Tom, I just want to offer this comment and thought in respect to that topic.
Can I have your name and address, please?
I'm sorry, Michael Murphy, 14th Avenue. For your considerations, perhaps a ticket-free zone for avenues 8 through 12 from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. would be an alternative option. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, just understand though, that the parking spaces that are on the beach, we have much less flexibility to deal with because they're part of the beach process, and we can't really do anything that favors residents over other state residents. Now, around the lakes, those areas could be definitely within the, you know, purview of our, you know, our ordinances to do something like that.
Understood. But obviously the management of the enforcement could have considerations for certain zones on codes.
No, it's a good idea. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Tom Dillard, 1,000 River Road. I just have two questions. I wasn't at the last meeting. What's the latest on the bathrooms on the boardwalk?
Well, the bathrooms are out.
Oh, they are out?
Yes,
Okay.
and there are two bathrooms that are on order that we supposedly will be getting within the next week or so. At least that's what the vendor told us. So we will have those two bathrooms installed, and unfortunately, one of the immobile bathrooms could not be moved from where it is over by the marina because the axle broke on the wheels, And so we will be short one bathroom on the boardwalk this year. But other than that, we should have, you know, all the rest of them should be there. And we're just waiting to get word on when the 2 new ones will be delivered to us.
Okay, thank you. What's the latest on the skate park?
Our next meeting is actually tomorrow evening, and we're hoping to have our designs back from the designer. And I haven't heard if we have or not, but no, not tomorrow, Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday. We're also in the process of getting together a fundraising committee. I think I have some names and some people who are committed to that so that we can start fundraising this summer. That's where we're at.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Barbara Matlows from 94 Inlet Terrace. I noticed today that there are signs out on River Road that the paving is supposed to finally start. I believe the road work, is that right? That's what that sign is for? So my question is, has a traffic analysis been completed for that intersection there when people come speeding up and down 5th Avenue and they try to make a turn onto River Road? Has that analysis been completed, and is there some copy of that so that we know what's going to happen?
I'm not aware of any analysis in the works, at least not since I've been here. Is there any? And I know what you're talking about because I walk my dog there every day. It's coming off of 5th around.
Yeah, same situation with walking my dog.
It's very bad.
And there are 2 stop signs there at that intersection that people just ignore and speed through, in addition to the 40-mile-per-hour speed limit that they're attending to going up and down 5th Avenue. I did speak to one of the policemen recently about that intersection, and he thought that they were going to make some modifications at that little park and the way the traffic goes in and out. So I thought maybe that had to do with an analysis.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but we definitely can sit down with the chief and Mr. Kane, and we'll take a look at that again. Because I'm there every day, and
Yeah, I'm
I
walking
see
my
it
dog
all
a
the
few
time.
times a day, and I've also, just for the record, I have corresponded with the previous 2 mayors on this issue, and there's really been no feedback on it. The Inlet Terrace Association, the HOA, also filed a petition last year to the previous mayor to take a look at the speeding issues at that intersection. We didn't get any particular feedback on it, so I'm hoping that with this administration we'll finally get some.
And actually, I agree with you, and what makes it worse, because, standing there, I'm always wondering why there are so many cars, and, obviously it's because that's the main way to get to 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. So you have, extraordinary traffic going through that one street, and I think it does warrant some kind of a.
It's not only for the dog walkers, it's for anybody who's trying to cross that, any pedestrian, so hopefully.
Speeding is going both ways. I walk along Inlet Terrace also, and I see, people zooming around, so we'll figure out what we can do.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Caitlin Donovan, 513 8th Ave. We had the event last night. I first wanted to thank Councilwoman McKinney, Councilwoman Montanaro for coming last night. I know you were all working really hard behind the scenes to bring in experts. Mr. McGill, Mr. Kane, thank you too for coming. I have since been inundated with messages from residents asking me to bring some articles to your attention. They pertain to health issues, environmental issues. There's case studies on how different couples have beaten these ordinances and beaten Verizon and the FCC. So I would like to just hand this folder over there so you make sure you have it. I'm happy to send it to you. We just want to make sure that we have communication in between the residents and all of you up there as we continue this fight.
Okay, absolutely. Anything that you can give us is welcome. Thanks, Kate.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jim Keady, 1120 3rd Avenue, Spring Lake. I'm representing the interests of my mother, Kathleen Keady, at 415 5th Avenue, Belmar. I want to thank the mayor and council for the interest on the Verizon issue and for the councilwoman who helped facilitate the meeting last night. I thought it was great for the community. I wanted to share some information that I gathered with regard to the federal nature of this issue. I'm sure that your council has advised you that this is a federal matter with regard to the FCC, and it seems that our New Jersey delegation has been markedly silent on Verizon's intrusion into communities here in the state of New Jersey. So Verizon is one of the top 250 campaign contributors in the nation, giving more than $2.5 million to representatives on both sides of the aisle at the federal level. In 2021 and 2022, they spent more than $24 million in lobbying our congressional representatives, ranking them 23rd in dollars spent out of 9,073 active registered lobbyists on Capitol Hill. 98 out of 119 Verizon Communications lobbyists in 2022 have previously worked government jobs, many of them at the FCC. The overwhelming majority of New Jersey's representatives in Congress have received significant contributions from the Verizon PAC and/or Verizon employees and executives. In fact, the top 3 receivers of Verizon campaign contributions in the last cycle for the entire United States were Frank Pallone, Tom Malinowski, who was lost in 2022, and Nikki Sherrill. Our Congressman Smith, is also high on the list of recipients of Verizon money, receiving $6,000 from their PAC in the 2022 cycle alone. As far as I can discern, there's only been one piece of proposed federal legislation in the last number of years to push back against the very Verizon-friendly FCC regulations, and that was H.R. 530 that was introduced in 2019 by Congresswoman Eshoo out of California. And I would like everyone to take note that not one member of our New Jersey congressional delegation has co-signed on to that piece of legislation. Now, it's dead now, it would need to be recycled in the current Congress. So I hope this information is helpful, and I have an ask or question first. Has there been a formal overture made to Congressman Smith, Senators Booker and Menendez about this issue from the governing body in Belmar?
I have reached out to Congressman Smith. I have not heard back yet. I'm hoping to.
I would recommend a formal letter drafted by council that has the names and signatures of each of the duly elected members of this body, and that it is an open public letter that is published in the newspapers of record and also delivered to the television channel of record, News 12 New Jersey. They need to have their feet placed under the fire on this one.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Yes, we will do that. Anyone else? Come on up.
Tom Walker, 527 8th Avenue, Belmar. I too would like to thank Maria and Jody for jumping in. You do have another side to your life. It's reported. I don't know, you can't always believe what you hear in the news. But I have a question. We would like at 8th and E, we'd like to get our affordable parking sign back. We don't have one now. It got ran over, poor thing.
Parking or stop sign?
Stop, what did I say?
You mean stop sign.
Okay, sorry.
Stop signs are.
Yeah, that people do slow down when they see that, so. Maria, in regards to, it's okay, direct this to Maria. You've been working on the senior building, and did I hear you right? You said you sent out bids, but none have come back, or you have a couple?
As far as I understand, we don't have bids back at this point. I'm not sure, though. I will double check with Director DeSantis.
Okay. And now, with bids, when you go out to bid, is Freehold and Trenton, do they get a copy? Whether they may be worth contacting. is what I'm suggesting.
That's a great question. I will absolutely pass that along. Thank you very much.
And other than that, appreciate all your hard work.
Well, thank you so much. Any other questions? One more?
Hey, Mayor, Joe McAvoy, 700 Main Street. I'd like to comment, and I have a couple of questions about the giveaway of the concessions on the boardwalk at Taylor Pavilion to our former mayor, Matt Doherty. And first, Councilman Levis, I know you voted yes first, and it went down the line. And you exposed the last administration. People were given free boat slips at the marina, okay, under the guise of emergency services. And we appreciate when you did that. But the biggest giveaway ever down at that public marina, and it's a public marina, Mayor Doherty, in a 35-year lease, gave away all the concessions at the marina and at McCleary Park to Chefs International, Marina Grill, 9th Avenue Pier. They don't even own the buildings. They don't even own the Marina Grill buildings. We do. It's a public marina. They leased it for 35 years. And in that lease agreement, you can't even have like if one of these veterans gets a hot dog cart, you can't even have a veteran with a hot dog cart down there serving hot dogs to people coming on and off the fishing boats. Or serving Gatorade to guys that are covered in fish smell and grundins and have no intention of ever going to Marina Grill for dinner or having a beer at 9th Avenue Pier before they go home. That was the biggest giveaway ever at that marina. The sailing club, you couldn't even sell Gatorade to the parents on a 100-degree day, waiting for the kids to come back in, support when they're down there sailing. Nothing. It's gone. And speaking of concessions, they gave him concessions for free. Councilman Rondinaro. It's a great charity. It's a great family. I know Rob Capoli. We were brothers together in the Dock Builders Union for years. He was my shop steward on a couple jobs. And they're good people, and I'm sorry Mr. Capoli's sick. And I volunteer myself with a special needs adult in Belmar a couple hours a week, and his parents actually use Circle of Friends as a resource. So I'd be a hypocrite though if I didn't come here and speak up about it. You asked the workers will get paid, and the answer was no. And a good follow-up question would have been, what will you get paid as president of this charity? Because even though it's a not-for-profit, these not-for-profit charities, the people who run them make good money, right? Now, it's a small charity now, but he's going to use this as an opportunity to grow the charity and definitely get something out of it. As a Marine, we tell our civilian friends openly, don't give to the Wounded Warriors Foundation. Don't let, the commercials fool you, the guys missing legs. The guys at the top at Wounded Warriors make way too much money. And there's other service-affiliated charities that you can give to that'll help those same guys out that are tugging at your heartstrings in the commercials. But it's, just the term not-for-profit isn't what everybody always thinks it is. And Mayor, I agree with Linda Sharkus. She asked, couldn't the monthly price be lowered to try to get somebody in there, try to get a tenant in there? They extended the paid parking, around the lakes, and for a year. So we know we're tight on money in the borough, obviously, and we just gave that away. At the best, the giveaway to Matt Doherty is bad optics. I was told the Democrats who were elected last November didn't know anything but it didn't seem that way 2 weeks ago. And Dr. Kinney, thanks for spearheading the fight against Verizon, first of all. And I know it's tough up there to make certain decisions, especially in a small community where your kids might share classrooms with other people's kids. We have that going on. But you were the lone dissenter when, everybody voted to remove Mr. Kirschenbaum as the borough administrator. Now, I respect you for that. You stood your ground. I don't agree with it. And that took courage. But the only thing a lot of us ever agreed with, in my position, with Mr. Kirschenbaum on, was that former Mayor Doherty put us in a big financial hole. Former Mayor Doherty came in asking for something for nothing. It was your chance to stand up and say no, sternly yet politely, and not going along to get along. He used his online newspaper to denounce one of our residents for exercising her constitutional right to religious expression. She didn't preach hate, and he blew her up in his newspaper. I hope none of you are living in fear that he would do the same to you if you voted no. In conclusion, Mr. Brennan, everybody deserves forgiveness, if that's what they're truly seeking. And if what they're truly seeking is a worthy pursuit, then, they should, that should happen. But since he got nothing for something for nothing up at Taylor Pavilion, it looks like he owes Belmar a favor. Now, maybe he can call former Councilman Zaliga, who was a top Verizon executive when he was a Belmar councilman, and who planted the seed with the Doherty administration to get Wi-Fi on the beach. And now we're in this conundrum with Verizon all these years later. But that's when the seed was planted. Now I'm sure John Zaliga has colleagues that are still at Verizon, good friends, that are in the top echelon of the leadership there. And maybe Matt Doherty can make that phone call to Councilman Zaliga and redeem himself in the eyes of Belmar and say, hey, look, can you get them off the backs of our small town? They're treating us like a big city, and we're not. Before we go through all the resources, before the county wastes a lot of legal dollars on us. That might be a possibility here. A little quid pro quo. And Dr. Kinney, if that doesn't happen, next time he comes in here asking for something for nothing, if time travel becomes possible and he wants to go back to 1892 and ask for donations so he can travel back and kill baby Hitler, tell him to go pound salt. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.